Hey guys, welcome to the RAMZPAUL show. It is Monday. We got a full show tonight. Thank you for being here. I've been enjoying doing these shows. I got into doing it every night because of the Iran war, and there's a lot of content, a lot of crazy shit that's going down. So we will talk about it. And thank you guys for supporting independent broadcasts like myself. I really do appreciate it. I just saw a thing on Megyn Kelly about how no one watches like CBS, ABC, NBC, or broadcast news anymore. And they don't. It's like, except if you're like an old boomer ready to die. Boomer! That's it. That's only people that watch it. I know myself personally, I don't even have a television broadcast. I mean, we have a TV, but it's connected to the internet. And I get I think I get Netflix with my phone plan. And, and then you get everything on the internet. Why would you want to watch like ABC or CBS News? It's failing. It's failing. It's dead. And independent journalism, I'm not saying I'm a journalist, but people that get perspective is really becoming very popular. It's an exciting time that way. Because used to the media, they had a monopoly of trying to hide things, gatekeep, but they can't do that anymore. Everything is now in real time. You go on X, you can see what's happening within minutes. Whereas it used to be you had to wait till Walter Cronkite came on in the 1970s, tell you what's happening in Vietnam. You don't have to do that anymore. It's really changed. And so that is really cool. And of course, the usual suspects, are trying to silence that and shut it down. But we still got a couple of years. We got a couple of years. So we're going to have fun. We're going to have a lot of fucking fun during these 2 years until they shut it down. Shut it down. Until then, we're going to have fun. So thank you guys for being here. Be sure to like and subscribe. And let's see what else I have. Oh, let me just double check. Because I don't have a producer. Oh, okay. This is running well on Rumble. Good. I got that set up right. I want to thank my production staff for having getting that set up. The production staff is me. I need to get more viewers. I need to get money. I want a lot of money so I can get a staff where I can like sexually harass them. It'd be a scandal. I have to go through rehab. I want to do the arc that, like sticks or quartering. I want to do that. But it's just me. So I can't do that, but that's okay. So guys, thank you so much for being here. And I think everything is running properly. And again, if I have any problems with the mic, I will look to Marcus P and Scott James. Hi, Scott James, to let me know if it's not working correctly. But I think I fixed the problem with that. And I think I'm good to go. It was a nice day here in Fayetteville. I'm not in Fayetteville, but I was in Fayetteville. I go to the big city to go do my shopping. And I've been working in the yard and everything. So it's been nice spring weather. It's in the 60s today. Perfect weather. Not too hot yet. And we haven't got the rains yet. Typically in the spring is when we get all the rains. And so that will come. But so far, it hasn't been too bad. All right. Well, let's just get into it. And as always, I appreciate when these shows are interactive. It's a way to help support the show. I'm not funded by anyone. I'm not one of those people, the 7,000 club, these people, they get paid $7,000 a post to support Israel or whatever that bullshit is. I don't have anything like that. I've had people offer to pay me to tweet stuff for them, but I said, I'm not going to do that. Why do I want to do that? Right? It's just, I'm not going to do that. I'm okay. I'm happy with my life. I'm not going to fucking sell out. I'd love to have a lot of money, but I'm not going to sell out. So I didn't do that. So I'm totally independent. I'm not part of the Trump team. They don't pay me. I don't get paid by Soros or any Israel or anything like that. I just rely on you guys. So thank you so much. And on YouTube, they have SuperChats. On Rumble, they have Rants. And then we have Powerchats on Powerchat. And I think I have the link up. Let me put the link up so you guys see that. Power Chat Live. There it is. Thank you. Oh, if you want to write me, I guess I should kind of pimp this. I do get a lot of letters, and thank you so much. I like real life letters or donations. Paul Ramsey at P.O. Box 8093, Fayetteville, Arkansas 72703. Session and I've been debating if we just change it to a city that's closer to me, because I'm actually, Fayetteville's quite a ways from me. And the trouble with the Fayetteville post office, even though Fayetteville's like 95% white, it's like the post office is all black. And so you can imagine what the service is like. Whereas a small town near me, it's like 100% white. It's so much better. But anyway, sent to Fayetteville, and hopefully they'll get it into the post office box. All right, let's get into it. So we're into like the fourth week of the 2-day war of Iran, and Trump a couple days ago, was on Friday. He just spazzed out because the Iranians, what happened? The Israelis, they attacked a nuclear facility in Iran, and Iran fucked shit up in Israel. In fact, they attacked they didn't target the nuclear facility, I think in Diamond, but they did attack it, and the Israelis weren't able to shoot down the missiles because the Iranians have pretty advanced missile technology, and that freaked everyone out. So Trump had a little spasm on his Truth Social, and he said, unless you open the Red Sea within 48 hours, we're going to target your energy facilities. We're going to wipe you out, which technically is probably a war crime. And not that I care. I mean, a war crime. If you win, who cares, right? But it is a war crime. But he didn't give a shit. We're going to target your energy facilities. Bomb you back to the Stone Age. That type of thing. And Iran said, well, whatever you want to do, but we'll just fuck up Saudi Arabia, their water system, they get from the ocean. That won't work. we'll just wipe out all the energy. And so it's creating a real crisis. And so there was a problem about what would Trump do, because the 48 hours was coming up. Would he pussy out and not, stand by his original threat? It's called Taco. Trump always chickens out. Or would he actually attack Iran's energy facilities? That was a big question. And the markets were reacting badly, not just the oil markets, but the bond market. That's a lot of people don't understand that. That's important one, because that's how much it costs to borrow money. And the United States, we're real in debt. We can't afford the interest rates to go up. So the bonds are very important. So there's a lot of problems there. And there's a problem with the petrodollar. I've often maintained the whole issue with oil supply, with the Red Sea being closed, not the Red Sea, I'm sorry, the Persian Gulf with the Strait of Hormuz, the Houthis, they closed the Red Sea earlier. They may do that again. But it's the Persian Gulf, and there's the Strait of Hormuz that the totally obliterated Iranian army, they still control that. We can't get ships through unless they give us permission. And that's about 20 to 30% of the world's oil supply, also liquid natural gas, some fertilizer. So it's pretty important. But it's not the end of the world for America, because we're energy self-sufficient. We have a lot of oil in the United States. We are a rich country with natural resources. We really are. We're blessed. And the Texas basin is huge. It's bigger than anything in the Middle East. We have that stuff in North Dakota and Alaska. We have a lot of oil. In fact, we export oil. So even if it was always closed, the Strait of Hormuz, we're like, yeah, well, fuck it. But the problem is supply and demand. When there's less oil on the market and demand stays the same, obviously the price will go up, even in America. And that's increased gasoline prices and diesel prices, which increases inflation, what you buy at the store, because the stuff you get on the store typically comes by truck. They got to fill up their trucks with diesel. Diesel expense gets more expensive. They pass that on with their prices. So it kind of trickles through that way. And Trump realizes he's real sensitive about that. But I've always pushed back on that. This isn't necessarily a catastrophe. Uh, my daughter, she works in the oil industry, and mostly a lot of our oil production, we don't run at 100%. I don't know if you guys don't know that, but we don't. It's based on the oil price because the oil companies, they produce more when the price goes up. Makes sense. You make more money. If the price per barrel goes way low, they cut down production, right? It just makes sense. So with the price of oil going up, we have a lot increased production in the United States. And I would assume other countries will do the same, like Russia and so forth. So, and also when the price goes up, you get what you call demand destruction, meaning people, airlines cancel flights, factories may reduce what they're doing. So that's not good. But say if you're in a recession, you have demand destruction where you don't use as much oil. And so if demand's not as great, what happens to the price? It goes down. So I've never been an alarmist about if the Strait of Hormuz is totally shut off, which it isn't, by the way. It's not totally shut off. The Iranians, they're getting their ships through, and Chinese cargo, they can get their ships through. And Iran is negotiating with other countries to allow their tankers to go through. So it's not 100% cut off. But even if it was 100% cut off, it wouldn't be the end of the world. It's just simply we'd produce more in America. Russia produce more. We drop sanctions on Russian oil. So your prices would go up, but it's not going to be like $100 a gallon at the pump or something crazy like that. There's not going to be shortages. The real problem long term is the petrodollar. And the petrodollar, I've explained many times, you guys probably know, is the system we went on, I believe in 1973 under Kissinger. That's when the God's All-Stars were kind of smart. But we're like, okay, we're no longer on the gold standard. We're on the petrol standard, oil. And we told OPEC, hey, we'll protect you, but you got to agree just to sell oil in dollars. And we wanted that because then everyone needs dollars, right? So if you're a Mexican government or a Mexican company, you got to buy dollars in order to buy oil. And so that's good for us. So we could spend more than we take in taxes and not get hyperinflation. So the petrodollar is key. But the key agreement was we would protect Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states in order for them to just sell in dollars. And that's the real danger if we don't do that, because they're Arabs. They're not loyal. No one in the Middle East is a lot of integrity. They'll flip and go with China or whatever if they don't see us as the strong horse. So that could be a danger in the long term. But, Trump's going to be dead in the long term. He's 80 years old, so maybe he doesn't care. But in the short term, there is an oil disruption. So that's the big problem is the petrodollar, is if we don't defend the oil states. Okay, let me just make sure. I'm just checking everything here that everyone can hear me good. Good. Hey, I already got a super chat. Thank you. Forgot to mention in the last stream, this is The Flush, but Chuck Norris was a Christian and is currently at the right hand of the Father. We should be joyous for that. Yeah, that is good. I didn't realize he was a Christian, but good for him. And I think we see how Christianity has a lot of advantages. Rumor has it now, I don't know if you guys see that Iran, because they've been double crossed not once, but twice by Kushner and Witkoff, or Jews, they're getting tired of that. And there's idea they don't want to negotiate with them anymore because they have a different standard. Judaism has a different standard than Christianity. In Judaism, it's not universal. So it's wrong to steal or cheat among other Jews, but among the outsiders, it's okay. And with Christianity is more universal. So I think the Iranians would prefer to deal, if there is a negotiation, with J.D. Vance and Kushner or Witkoff, especially since they've been stabbed in the back twice. They were doing their negotiations, and we didn't do the negotiations in good faith. We did a sneak attack. And obviously, that would piss you off, right? You're in the middle of negotiations to try to avoid the war. And while you're discussing a proposal, your religious leader is killed, and a lot of leaders are killed without a declaration of war. And again, that's what we were so mad at Japan years ago for doing at Pearl Harbor. Now we think this is a good thing to do. And again, that's not a Christian way to spiritually, that's not a Christian way to do things. But again, Kushner and Witkoff, they're not Christian. And I would say most of our leaders, we do not have a Christian spirit of our nation anymore. It's a very Jewish spirit, at least with the leadership. Now, you can say that's good or bad, but that's the way it is. Let's see here. $5, no chat. Pole Boy Music. Thank you for your support. I really do support that. And that means a lot to me. All right. So anyway, so Trump gave that 48-hour notice, and there was a big and I said at the time he put himself in a trap because he could only do one of two things. He could either cock and not follow through with his word, which would make him look weak, or he could attack the energy facilities, but then the Iranians would just unleash hell on all the energy, and that would really spike the oil prices and cause troubles for Trump politically. So how Trump decided to deal with this, we found out this morning before the markets open, because Trump's really concerned about the markets. And here we go here. Let's just read. And, Trump's like the eternal boomer. He posts in all caps for whatever reason. I don't know what it is about boomers. I don't understand. There's a cap locks, and you just capitalize the first letter of a sentence, and they don't understand that. And then he misspelled words. I am pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had over the last 2 days very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which, I don't know, which Hillary Clinton, what are you talking about? I think he didn't spell it right. Which will continue through the week. I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And the market like this, the oil prices, right when he put this out on Truth Social, decline because everyone thought, oh, great. So we didn't know he's having negotiations with the Iranians, and they agreed. So we have a 5 days postponement from attacking their energy facilities. You remember the goal here was to open the Strait of Hormuz, which we claim they don't. Trump said, well, if you want to know the truth about it, we're the ones that closed it. How do you like that, bitch? That was Trump's official position. And they've been totally obliterated, the Iranians, but somehow, even though they've been totally obliterated, they still control the strait. I don't know how that works. But so that was the whole reason for this. And by the way, can I take an aside? Let's just go back about how the Iranians have the strategic initiative now. Because before the war started, was the Strait of Hormuz closed? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Now the whole war, whatever the original objectives were, has changed from, I think it was the regime change. So we get some, I don't know, gay Jewish guy that's friendly to Israel as the supreme leader, to we got to open the Strait of Hormuz. So the whole point of the war has been totally forgotten. Forgotten. Now we're worried about the Strait of Hormuz. So the Iranians have what they call the strategic initiative, and a lot of the Americans don't even understand that, right? So all the talk about, oh, we can't allow them to get nukes, when last year, Trump said, we totally obliterated their nuclear program for decades. So I don't know, was he lying then or now? And then they try to, oh, no, it's about the protesters. Oh, no, it's about ballistic missiles. It's about, I don't know. They kept changing the goalposts. Now it's about the Strait of Hormuz. And so Trump said that. So you're thinking, okay, 48 hours ago, he said if they don't open the Strait of Hormuz, he would attack their energy facilities. But now he said, no, we're going to wait 5 days. But wait a minute. So has a Strait of Hormuz, did the Iranians open it? Let's take a look here. Just in, shipping traffic through the Strait of Hormuz remains halted. Oh, okay. Well, looks like Trump lost, right? Because he said this was the objective. He was clear. You have to open it within 48 hours or we're going to destroy your energy. And the Iranian response, yeah, go for it. We'll fuck you up. We'll fuck up the Middle East energy. Up to you, bro. And then Trump said, well, we're having these secret negotiations. Notice most negotiations that happen, like who's negotiating? Like we're negotiating with Ukraine and Russia and all that. Who are the negotiating partners like Kushner, Witkoff, Lavrov with Putin, you know who's involved, the location. Oh, it's in Istanbul, and the date. Here he just said we have these negotiations. He didn't mention when did these negotiations occur, who were a part of the negotiations, and where were the negotiations located. He didn't mention that at all. Red flag, but whatever. The Iranians still have the thing closed. So that hasn't happened. So that hasn't been done. And the Iranians, their response, let me just show you. This was this morning. Contrary to what Trump claims, and it's kind of sad that the Iranians write English better than Trump. They don't write in all caps and they actually don't misspell and they use proper grammar. There you go. There are no ongoing negotiations between Iran and the United States. So this is really weird. Trump said we had all these deep negotiations with Iran, and Iran's saying, we don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Indirect messages have reached Iran, but they do not include any proposal or value worthy of consideration. Let me translate through you. Trump has been using, it can only be Russia, to send messages to Iran saying, please stop the war. Please agree to a ceasefire. So we have sent messages through, I believe, Russia to Iran asking them, please, let's agree to a ceasefire like we did last year. But Iran's like, yeah, fuck off. You didn't honor the last ceasefire. Why should we do this again? But so I do believe that. So I think Trump, he likes to bullshit. So there's a kernel of truth in what Trump said, in that there haven't been negotiations. I think Trump's full of shit. But Trump has reached out through Russia to try to put out some proposals. But Iran's saying, yeah, we got those proposals, but they're bullshit. Moreover, the channel for sending these one-sided messages has been ongoing since the beginning of the war. So Trump has been sending these messages, again, probably through Russia, to Iran since the start of the war. Because you remember, Trump had this idea because of Netanyahu, Pete Hegseth, Lindsey Graham, that we would bomb them on Saturday, kill their leadership, that people would rise up, we'd have some gay Jewish person take over, and that would be that. It'd be like Venezuela, and that didn't happen. So now Trump doesn't know what to do. There was no plan B. They had no strategy. And so Trump is trying to escalate this down. Iran will continue the war until it achieves its objectives, and there is a conviction that a 5-day deadline announced by Trump is nothing but a trick to lower Iran's level of alertness with the possibility of any strike of the adversary occurring during this period. So Iran is saying this is probably just a trick to attack us. Iran views this as a response to the energy infrastructure of the region and Israel's power grid inevitable, and Trump timings hold no value. The Strait of Hormuz remain closed. All right, so we'll talk about that some more. I got to take a quick break. All right, I'm back. So Trump said we've been negotiating with them, and Iran, their official position is that we don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You've sent messages through a third party, Russia, and we found them ridiculous. And you're probably just doing this to deceive us, trying to buy time, and we're not going to fall for that. So that was the Iranian position. And let's see here. I can't pee that quick. Yeah, I'm a fast peer. That's one of my talents. I can pee quick. I've been I'm proud of that. Let's see here. All right, let's see some other stuff that's happening here. Explosions reported at U.S. bases in Kuwait. So there's not like a ceasefire or anything happening. Trump has said, so just a reminder, Trump said you got to open the Strait of Hormuz or we're going to bomb your energy facilities. Iran said, yeah, go ahead, try it. You see what we do. And Trump, he backed off. And he backed off trying to save face, saying, well, I've decided to back off for 5 days. No one believes Trump anymore. And by the way, I was talking to Sasha about this. This is, just 10 years ago or 5 years ago, if an American president says something compared to Iran, I would have believed the American president over Iran. I'm like, oh, those evil Iranians. I don't trust anything they say. And I'm not saying 100% trust Iran, but at this point, this is how low America has become. I actually believe Iranians are more truthful than this administration. They have lied and lied and lied so many times that eventually they don't have any credibility. So that is the situation there. And just some more breaking on this. Breaking, Iran says the war will continue until all sanctions are lifted and war damages are paid by the United States. So the question is, what does Iran want if there are negotiations? They want all sanctions lifted. We've already lifted some on the oil, and we have to pay reparations for all the damage we've done. I don't know if we'll do that. But that's an improvement because beforehand they said we'd have to leave the Middle East. There's no way we can do that and keep the petrodollar. And we got to keep, funding Israel because they're our best little friend. So, yeah, that is, I don't see that happening here. I don't see that happening. And then as this has happened, Iran is not backing down. If you take a look at this, let's take a look at this. Breaking. U.S. officials said Iran has placed at least 12 mines in the Strait of Hormuz as Trump claims peace talks are underway. This is a big deal because my understanding, we don't have minesweepers anymore. The Navy got rid of them. Oops, because we thought, oh, we don't have to do that anymore. So we have some problems with that. And mines can really mess up tankers because drones can do so much damage. Tankers are big, but mines can really cause undersea. I guess the holes aren't that thick and it causes a lot of problems. So probably what Iran has done, if they're smart, and they seem to be pretty smart, is it's kind of, you guys ever play that game Minesweeper years ago? Remember that? It's kind of like that, but they secretly know where the mines are. And so their ships know the secret route around the mines, and the people that pay money, they'll let them go through, but everyone else doesn't know where the mines are. So this is not a good thing. All right. As Trump was claiming that we're close to reaching a deal, we're not going to attack their energy facilities. God's All-Stars. God's All-Stars. They have a different plan. The Israeli Air Force has begun a new wave of strikes targeting infrastructure across Iran after Trump said he would pause all attacks. See, this is the other problem. Trump can say whatever he wants, but we don't control Israel. Israel controls us. So Israel can continue to attack infrastructure sites. In fact, they have. And we'll have to see if the Iranians counterattack. I mean, they're going to counterattack against Israel. But the big worry is they'll counterattack against Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, UAE, Qatar. That's the big worry. And so Israel's like, yeah, fuck it. We're going to do what we want. So that's what Israel's doing, which shouldn't be a surprise. They kind of do whatever they want. And that is it. And there's some more updates on this about Israel.
So, Leia, I have to say, we have to wait to see what Israel would do, because we have seen in the past that sometimes the Israeli forces unilaterally take action. That was the case with the South Pars gas facilities. Initially, the Israeli government said U.S. knew about this, but then that changed, and Trump said no. The Israelis lashed out, so that reflected the divergent in the strategy. So could it be that Israel might strike, and how would that look like? So I think a lot of moving parts, but also.
See, this is the important part to watch, guys. I would look at. It's not all about Trump. There's three parties pretty much in this whole drama. There's the United States, there's Israel, and there's Iran. On Israel's part, Netanyahu's for the past 40 years has been advocating a war with Iran. There's been an imminent threat, 2 weeks from a nuclear bomb for the last 40 years. And Israel, through AIPAC, has been buying our politicians, and they think this is their last chance because they understand most Americans now hate Israel because of what have they done in Gaza, and they're taking our tax money and how they act. And so it's like, oh shit, our last chances now, because we got the boomer Fox crowd still supports us, hoping Jesus comes back before they die in the old folks home. So this is our chance this is it, right? If we don't do it with Trump, we're fucked. We're not going to be able to overthrow Iran. And this is key. We got to overthrow Iran so we can have greater Israel. We can build the third temple, and we can get the Antichrist, or what they think the Messiah is, Antichrist, to come. So, and Christian Zionists, they kind of think the same way, but they think he'll bring back Jesus and the rapture. It's kind of interesting. So this is it. And so they're not going to back off. And so Israel, Netanyahu, they're like, what the fuck? No. We're not going to reach a settlement with Iran. They got to be totally defeated. Because make no dispute, no, don't fool yourselves, right? Don't fool yourselves. If there's an agreement that is reached with Iran, this is a humiliating defeat for the United States of America. Humiliating defeat. We wanted a regime change, break up other country. They fucked us up. We had a retreat. I know Trump will call it a victory, but it's a defeat. And Israel understands that. And they'd be like, what the fuck, bro? We paid you a lot of money. Adelson paid you a lot of money. What the fuck are you doing? We fucking own you bitches. And Trump, if you do this, we're going to fuck you up with impeachments, with and we'll have Ben Shapiro and our agents go against you. That's what's going to happen. So Israel, they're not going to agree to stopping energy attacks. They're going to do everything they can, including false flags, which we've already had one. We'll get to. So that's the other aspect of this. And as I said, so many times I was listening, Sasha had Megan Kelly on, and she's getting better. But even she doesn't understand something. She said, Trump should just declare victory and walk away. And I like her because she's starting to understand not to get in these wars. But how does Trump walk away if Israel and Iran don't agree? That's what I mean. There's three parties in this. I mean, theoretically, Trump could walk away. But then what happens if the Iranians continue to attack our bases? Do we just give up our bases in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Oman, Kuwait? Do we give them up? Because they're bombed all the time. We don't have defenses anymore against Iranian missiles. We've evacuated them. Do we give them up permanently? Then what will that do to the petrodollar? Because the whole idea of the petrodollar is, hey, you bitches, you just have to sell in dollars, and in return, we'll protect you. But we're showing, hey, well, we can't protect anyone. So what's to say, well, fuck you, we'll sell in other currency then. And so now and again, this won't happen overnight, but long term, if we're no longer on the petrodollar, we can't keep having deficits without hyperinflation. And that will screw everything up in America because we always run a deficit. That's the big problem. Now, again, that's not like within a year or two, but within a decade, that could break this country. So that is a big problem. And the second problem is, even if we do pull away, what if Tel Aviv keeps getting blasted every night? Do you think Tom Cotton, who's paid by the Israelis, I'm sorry, Tom, not Israelis, AIPAC, and Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz are going to allow that to stand? Hell no. We got to defend our best little buddies. So it's not just that simple to walk away. And it'd be simple to me because I'll tell Israel to fuck off, and I would get control of our budget. I don't think we should spend more than we take in. So it'd be simple for me, but for someone like Trump, it can't be simple for. All right, let's see here. We got some more news on this. Thank you guys all for watching. I really appreciate you guys being here. I really do. I really thank you very much. So
clear that I think someone spoke sense in Donald Trump's circle and perhaps him directly, that if these strikes
100%. There's some people within the administration that said, Trump, I know you spazzed out like you do late at night about because the Iranians really fucked up Israel. Especially they came close to their nuclear facility. I don't think Iranians were intentionally trying to attack the facility, but it was a warning because Israel, the diamond, I think that's where they make their nuclear weapons. Iran saying, don't fuck with us. We'll blow up your nuclear facility. And we weren't able to shoot the missiles down. Trump freaked out. That's when he made his threat late at night. And then Iran said, wow, okay, if you want to do that, you attack our energy facilities. We'll attack the desalinization plants in these Gulf countries so they won't have fresh water. They won't be able to, we'll attack their energy. No. And so the administration said, Trump, you can't do this. You just can't do this. We'll lose the Gulf states. We'll lose the petrodollar. So I think he had to figure out a face-saving way to get out of this. So Trump made up the story about being in negotiations with Iran, which never really happened. Iran said, we haven't been in negotiations. But in Trump's mind, he can say, well, we sent messages to Iran via Russia. I think it was Russia. So he can say, oh, that was great negotiations.
Take place, it is going to be catastrophic for the civilian society, the civil infrastructure in Iran and the civil society inside this country, and also the retaliation that we might potentially see from Iran toward the Gulf states, but also Israel will most certainly be enormous. So I think the cost is now outweighing President Trump's bombast and threat. The thing is clear.
Yeah, I mean, Trump says a lot of shit. And he doesn't have a lot of gravitas, or he's not a sober-minded individual. And so I think they had to control him down there. And Trump, he spoke about that. So let's listen to Trump.
Thank you.
What about the Strait of Hormuz? Who's going to be in control of that?
That'll be opened very soon if this works.
How soon? And who's in control of it? Will Iran still be able to control the flow of oil?
Be jointly controlled.
By whom?
Maybe me. Maybe me.
You want the United States to be in
Me
control?
and the Ayatollah, whoever the Ayatollah is, whoever the next Ayatollah. Look, and there'll also be a form of a very serious form of a regime change. Now, in all fairness, everybody's been killed from the regime. They're really starting off. There's automatically
And so, see, this is a problem with Trump, and I understand his background in marketing, which is the bullshit. He's saying we've wiped out all of Iranians, all their defense, all their missiles have been wiped out. But then every night, Iranians fire missiles at Israel and our bases. So you have to think, well, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. And he says all the Iranian leaders have been destroyed, but then how do they function as a society? And how do these Iranian leaders go on interviews with various shows? It doesn't make sense. It's just bullshit propaganda at the lowest level that if you just think about it, even if you support the war, this doesn't make sense. Just be honest about it.
regime change. But we're dealing with some people that I find to be very reasonable, very solid. The people within know who they are. They're very respected. And maybe one of them will be exactly what we're looking for. Look at Venezuela, how well that's working out. We are doing so well in Venezuela with all.
Are we? Are we doing well in Venezuela? Are we seriously? I mean, we got Maduro, but the government there is still basically the same. And see, this is, as I said earlier, the big problem that Trump had was he was successful in Venezuela because he got Maduro, because we bribed some people in Venezuela. Latin American countries, let's face it, are corrupt. We're able to bribe them and get their leader. That's how they operate. But because Trump found that to be easy, he thought Iran would be easy too. He really thought, I really do believe he thought Iran, the operation, would be just like Venezuela over in the weekend, and we would control it.
Oil and with the relationship between the president-elect and us. And maybe we find somebody like that in Iran.
So Trump's saying he'll find someone in Iran because they're talking a regime change. Good luck with that. So again, the Iranians, it doesn't seem like that because again, we killed the supreme leader. The one that took over for the supreme leader was the son, who's more hardline. And in the Iranian Republican Guard seems to still be in control here. All right, this is Iran. Some more of their response to this.
Strait of Hormuz, who's going to be in control of
That'll
that?
be opened very soon if this works.
How soon? And who's in
Maybe.
control of it? Will
Maybe.
Iran still be able to control the flow of oil?
And they just have a meme of like the Strait of Hormuz will be controlled by me and the Ayatollah. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, Iran is just laughing at that. All right, let me just take a look at that. It's good to have you guys here. Hope you had a good weekend. Let me just go through everything. Okay. All right, let's take a look at this here.
And then unfortunately, I called Pete, I called General Kane, I called a lot of our great people. We have great people. And I said, let's talk. We got a problem in the Middle East. We have a country known as Iran that for 47 years has been just a purveyor of terror. And they're very close to having a nuclear weapon. We can keep going and get that 50,000 up to 55 and 60 is no end. Or we can take a stop and make a little journey into the Middle East and eliminate a big problem. And Pete, I think you were the first one to speak up. And you said, let's do it, because you can't let them have a nuclear weapon. So we are now having really good discussions. They started last night, a little bit, the night before that.
All right, a couple of things about this. It was interesting. He's still calling this a little excursion instead of a war. And I think this is how it was sold to Trump. It'd be easy, just like Venezuela. The whole thing, they can't get a nuclear weapon. Well, already Israel has a nuclear weapon. I think they're more of a threat to America than Iran. Pakistan does, North Korea does, Russia does, China. But Iran has said, their former Ayatollah, who he murdered, said, no, we don't want nuclear weapons. That's against our religious beliefs. And we killed them. And last year we attacked their facilities. Trump said it was wiped out. Iran has always said, in fact, under the previous nuclear agreement, they said they just want a nuclear technology for peaceful purposes, not for weapons. We could have inspectors there. They have always said they don't want nuclear weapons. So that was a red herring. This whole war was about Israel and the Greater Israel Project. That was just an excuse. And so now Trump is saying Pete Hegseth is the one that encourages. And I don't know if he's trying to throw Pete Hegseth under the bus. But this is basically what he said there. All right, well, listen some more to Trump here.
Look at the way they attacked unexpectedly all of those countries surrounding them. There was not supposed to be. Nobody was even thinking about it.
How could you not think about it? You launched an attack on Iran, and you had no idea that they would attack U.S. bases in the Gulf countries. How could you not think about that? I'm not like the smartest guy in the world, but I said beforehand, there's a war. Obviously, the Iranians would attack us with their missiles because they have a lot of good missile and drone technology, and they would close the Strait of Hormuz. But this was all a surprise to our government. No idea. Who could have known?
But they wanted to take over the Middle East, and they wanted to knock out Israel permanently. And if they had
what evidence they want to take over the Middle East? What wars has Iran started? And getting back to the other video, the Iranians were the terrorist state. They were the primary supporters of terrorism. Like, well, where? If you look at the data, most of the terrorists are from the Sunni Muslims, like ISIS, not Iran. And you can say, well, they always have to go back, like Hezbollah, which fights Israel and tries to defend Lebanon. But I don't think that's really terrorism when you fight an invading army. So it's like there's been no Iranian terrorist attacks in Europe or America. So what the fuck are you talking about?
nuclear weapon, they would have been able to do that.
So, they're trying to get still the justification for the war, which isn't really quite clear what it was for, but that's where we are right now. All right, let me just see here. This was an update that was pretty surprising with the aircraft carriers. And I think there's more to the story than we're being let on. Oh, that isn't it. Sorry, let me just get this up here. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw this. You remember we sent the Gerald Ford. It cost like over $1 billion to make. It's our most modern aircraft carrier. And the USS Gerald Ford is expected to be out of service for at least 14 months, but likely 2 years. What? There was some laundry room fire. So this is this ship. All right, this is a little history. This ship, I guess I've been on aircraft carriers, by the way. When I was in high school, I think on the USS Enterprise, I was part of a jazz band in high school and we got to play on the deck. Really cool. And we got a tour of the aircraft carrier. And at least the USS Enterprise, it's cramped. It's not like a luxury cruise if you serve on there. That's my experience with a carrier. I also know this guy that actually was a nuclear engineer that was on the aircraft carrier. He was part of the Navy. So he told me a lot about it. That's my experience. But anyway, the Gerald Ford, there's only supposed to be out 6 months on deployment. Then they come back to port. The sailors can go off and whatever. And then they do maintenance on it. But what happened is Gerald Ford is out, but they had to extend it because of our war or whatever with Venezuela. And then because of this silliness with Iran. And so they've had an extended leave. That has really pissed off the sailors because they don't like that. And they had a problem with their plumbing system. Remember the toilets, all the poop. And there was a lot of reports that a lot of the problem with the plumbing was actually sabotaged by the sailors, sticking like T-shirts and underwear in the toilets to try to sabotage it. I don't know if that's true or not, but I saw those reports. And so they weren't really happy. Morale wasn't high. Plus, I've seen other reports, the military, average servicemen, they're not really happy about fighting potentially a war for Israel in the Epstein class. So morale's not very high. So we sent out this carrier over there to fight Iran. And then they had a laundry room fire. And supposedly some laundry caught on fire. And you think, yeah, well, whatever. Just like a little kitchen fire, put it out with a fire extinguisher, whatever. But it turned out this was more extensive than they let on. And it took them days, many weeks to try to control the fire. And it destroyed like 600 bunks where the sailors sleep. And a lot of them had to sleep on the floor. And so it was a total disaster. So they had to go to Crete to try to do repairs. And it didn't, it was initially just be like a week, it'd be back of service. But now they're talking it's going to be out 14 months or 2 years because of the damage. So I don't know. It's just very strange. But this is very humiliating for America. Our flagship, the state-of-the-art aircraft carrier was supposedly taken out because of a laundry room fire. And so it's going to have to limp back to America. And so things aren't going aren't going very well. All right, let's see here. New York Times has said, getting into the start of the war, they sold Trump a revolution and got a war with no way out. So this is the New York Times, not Alex Jones. Not that the New York Times is that more accurate, but they told Trump what would happen, that all these people hated the Iranian government because there's those protesters in January. And what happened with the protests in January? It was totally astroturf. It was mostly Mossad. And what happened in Netanyahu came to Trump in December. They had a meeting. Netanyahu, who's always had a hard on about having war with Iran. And he told Trump, hey, instead of a war, what we can do, we can overthrow the regime if you crash their currency. So have Scott Bessent work to crash the currency, and we in Mossad can get these people out to try to overthrow the government. That was in January, if you remember that. And there were people that went out, but they were crushed and it didn't work. So that's now why we got in the war. But the idea of the war was, okay, we destroy or assassinate the Ayatollah. We pretend we're in negotiations with them, but they're just like fake negotiations. We catch them off guard and we murder them. Like Game of Thrones, the Red Wedding, kind of like that. And then all these people rise up and overthrow the system. And then we'll get some gay Jewish guy that loves Israel in charge. But that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Remember Trump, when this all happened the first weekend, he put on True Social, Iranians, now's your time to rise up. We have your back. No one took to the streets. Well, they did take to the streets, but in support of the government, because I guess they didn't like us killing the religious leader and us killing their school children, which Trump initially lied about. We didn't do that. That was the Iranians. They're just inaccurate. And then when there's evidence it was a Tomahawk missile, maybe they had a Tomahawk missile and they blew up their own school. Bullshit, right? And so this rallied the Iranians around the flag. Mossad chief David Barnea told Netanyahu and Trump administration that within days of the war start, his agency could mobilize Iranian opposition and spark an uprising that would lead to the collapse of the government. So this is what started the war. Trump really thought we'd bomb them, there'd be an uprising, we'd replace the government that'd be friendly to the Zionists. That didn't happen. And there was no plan B. And we're seeing the results of that now. And some more of this. This was the New York Times reporting about the demonstrations were pretty much all fake. The New York Times has essentially confirmed that Israel played a role in stimulating the violent regime change riots that left about 3,000 dead in Iran in January 8th and 9th. And so, again, this is a conspiracy theory. Those uprisings in Iran in January, and not all the people were Mossad, but a lot of the people were frustrated because Scott Bessent, we manipulated the currency to crash the Iranian currency. Scott Bessent, he admitted to this. And it created a problem with the standard of living in Iran. And a lot of people protested the government. And so we took that, hey, the government was weak. When it really wasn't the case, people were protesting inflation like we do in the United States, but it didn't mean they wanted their religious leader murdered. And so we totally misread the situation. All right, let me just take a look. I got a power chat. Samson, thank you. And I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat. So thank you, Samson. I really do appreciate this. Here we go. One of the things I noticed on Twitter is how committed MAGA still is to Trump. They viciously attack you in the comments when you rightfully lampoon and ridicule Trump. It's almost like they have to. Yeah, I've mentioned this a little bit, and I've always been, one of the things I've always been happy about is I'm not like the quartering that has to support Trump because that's where my money comes from. I don't really care. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. But a lot of the people, they feel it's almost becomes a cult if you follow a man, no matter what he says. I supported Trump because of his positions, meaning Let's deport the illegals. Let's do mass deportations, have deportation teams. Remember that? Let's do that. And let's stop these stupid wars for Israel. Let's focus on America first. And let's bring back industry to America. That was the three big ones. And also fight anti-whiteism. That was what really appealed to me. Now, Trump has already abandoned the deportation. He's cucked on that. We're not doing that. And now we're in these wars for Israel. So I'm not going to support Trump if he abandons his positions. I'm not a cult person. Some people are cultish and they support a guy no matter what they do. I've never been that way. So, yeah, but there's a lot of people and they try to think this is a 4D chess plan or something. It's not. Now and this could be related on Rumble. Rowhouse, thank you. This is a rant. Rams now even on Trump's number one main issue with his base, he backed off. Let me take a look at this.
Many countries opened up their prisons and dropped them into the United States. Those are the people who are getting out. And we have a lot of heart. I said, you got to lighten up on this. We have a lot of heart for people. They came in illegally, but they're good people, and they're working now on farms, and they're working in luncheonettes and hotels and all. And we're looking to get the criminals out right now, the criminals. And I think it's very important. I mean, every once in a while you see a story, we take somebody. He should be out because they came in illegally. So in theory, they should be. But we're focused on the murderers, the drug dealers, the mentally insane. We have a lot of mentally insane killers. I mean, you can't even talk to them. It'd be nice if you could have a little reason, but you can't even reason. These are seriously ill people. You have a couple of countries where they were loaded up. Their mental institutions and insane asylums were loaded to the gills. They couldn't get. They're empty now. But they're filling up because we're bringing them all back. We know where they came from. And every country accepts them. You know, under Biden, they wouldn't say, they had so little respect that they'd bring them there and they wouldn't take them. They said, get the hell out of here. They would be bringing a plane in to land in a country.
Yeah, I've talked about this before. I don't know. What is the percentage of illegal aliens that were in insane asylums or were murderers? I don't think the percentage is that high, probably under 1%. The reason I support illegal immigration or even legal immigration from mostly non-whites is it replaces our country. And we no longer have our homeland anymore, our values, because these people are incompatible with us. Obviously, murderers should be executed. We shouldn't deport them. We should execute them. So that should be obvious. So you're right. Trump has totally abandoned this, and he seems to be focused on, let's just deport the people that are murderers or mentally ill. Horrible betrayal of the base. That's not what I voted for. But this is what we are right now. So thank you for that, Rowhouse. Let me make sure I got everything here. I got one from Lewis Barrow 4671. Are you against a war in Iran in general, or is it because it's allegedly for Israel? And do you want Iran to win? Hey, great question. Are you against war with Iran in general? Yes, I am, because I'm against us doing these neocon wars that with things that don't benefit the United States. And I'm not a pacifist. If Iran, let's say, should attack us, yeah, let's fuck them up. Fuck them up. I have no problem with it. Glass them. And if I was president, I would say, hey, we're friends with everyone. We want to be friends with everyone. But you attack our country, we're just going to fuck you up. All right? But otherwise, we're friends with you. And Iran had no issue with us. They're not attacking the United States. And there's no issue here. There's just no issue. The issue was with Israel. And again, I'm not against Israel if they can just behave like a normal country without being insane and they can just live peacefully. I don't really care. In fact, in many ways, it's a good model. They have an ethno-state. I believe in the same. We should have a country for our people, multiple countries for our people. I believe Germany should be for the German people. But I don't think we should fight wars for Israel just because they control our media, Hollywood, legal system, and they buy our politicians. That's why I'm doing that. And do you want Iran to win? Well, what's win? What is win and lose? I mean, what is the goal of this war? And who's fighting it? What's the interest in America versus Israel versus Iran versus the people that control the war? Because the people that are fighting this war, or at least the leaders, do you think Tom Cotton, Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham's, they give a fuck about America? No, they don't. It's all about Israel. That's not what I'm about. I'm about American. I'm pro-American. My family's been here before the Revolutionary War, and my grandmother had genealogy. She was part of the Daughters of the American Revolution. I mean, I'm old school here. I love America. I love our country. So there's no dispute about that. But I just don't want to go into random wars with countries. I believe with George Washington, we shouldn't get in these entangling alliances, or we shouldn't look for monsters to destroy. However, other countries want to set up their country, that's none of my business. We should focus on America. That's my policy. And peace through strength that Trump talks about, I think he misunderstands that. Peace through strength doesn't mean starting wars. It means preventing wars by being strong, meaning, hey, we have a very good military, we have nuclear weapons, don't fuck with us. And that's peace through strength. It's not like, greater Israel needs to expand, and in order to bring back Jesus, we got to support. Now, that's not what peace through strength is. And do we want Iran to win? Well, what is winning exactly here? Iran wins. Already Trump has given Iran the victory because Iran will continue to exist as a sovereign nation. And the goal was to replace that, so be under control of Israel and the United States empire, which I didn't want. So already Trump is giving Iran the victory. So how do you define victory conditions? It's not as simple. It's not a game of who wins or loses. We're losing this war in lives, in money, in prestige. We should not be into this war. So I want America to win. And America to win means we don't piss away money that we don't have, by the way. We don't have this money. We're in debt on wars that don't benefit the United States. So I'm pro-America. I want what is best for Americans. And getting involved in wars for Israel, while it may benefit like Ben Shapiro because he loves his ethno-state, it doesn't benefit me. Fuck Ben Shapiro. He's not from this country. I am. My ancestors were. It doesn't benefit me whatsoever. So I want America to win. So you're asking, do I want Iran to win? I want America to win. I want America to win. And America to win means we don't get involved with these wars. We don't lose our sons and daughters to some bullshit wars that don't have to do with defending our nation. So I'm 100%, I want America to win. But America to win is not killing a lot of our sons and daughters. And it pisses me off because it's not people that die aren't fucking Lindsey Graham. It's not Barron Trump. It's people I live around me. They're the ones that fucking spill their blood And I don't want their blood to be spilled for fucking Israel when it has no benefit to America. So I want America to win. And that means we don't die for other countries. We protect our country. So again, if Iran should, let's say, launch an attack on Florida, fuck them up. Fuck them up. I don't really care. But if they don't, we're friends with them. That should be our policy. And as simple as that. Israel is also bombing Lebanon. What did Lebanon to deserve that? Yeah, I mean, Israel's using this to expand. They're using this crisis to expand their territory. It's outrageous. Outrageous. I mean, didn't we get upset for Russia from going into the Donbass? And now we have Israel going into Lebanon. It's crazy. All right, I'll be back in a second. Take a quick break and we'll continue. Hey, I'm back. You could consider that like a commercial break. I don't have commercials, so I have restroom breaks instead. Yeah. See, this is actually that was a really good super chat because this really pisses me off because this is what a lot of people do. And I'm not saying the super chatter, but they very pervert things like our country is hijacked by a foreign power. And unless we support the war that the foreign power is imposing upon us, we somehow hate America, right? That's the trick they do. Ben Shapiro would use that too, right? Oh, you want Iran to win? It's clever, and it's like, no, I'm for America. I'm not here to fight your fucking war, right? And if we're fighting your fucking war, we lose. We lose. So we got to frame it that way. I don't want America to lose. If we fight wars for Israel, America loses. If we allow AIPAC to buy our politicians, I'm looking at you, Tom Cotton, Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, we lose. This wasn't the way that America was set up to be in a democracy republic, that our politicians are bought by another country. That's called treason. I think you're fucking traitors. Straight out traitors. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. You don't give a shit about people in Arkansas. You don't give a shit about America. You get your money from fucking Israel. And fuck you. That's treason. And I'm not going to fight your fucking wars. I don't want our sons and daughters to fight your fucking wars. And fuck you. If you say, oh, you're not a loyal American then. Yeah, go fuck yourself. That needs to be our attitude. And I hate people that try to do that because they try to hijack something that is good. This is what these people do, by the way. They turn our virtues against us. You have to understand how evil they are. Satan does this. Did you realize Satan quoted scripture to Jesus in the temptation in the wilderness? He quoted scripture, Satan did. And scripture is holy. And this is what they do. They try to do something that's holy and pervert it against you. And what is good, it's good to be a nationalist, a patriot for your people. I'm a nationalist. I love my people. I love Americans. These are my people. Doesn't mean we're perfect, but my ancestors came here in the 1600s in North Carolina, and they traveled via covered wagon to southern Indiana. hillbillies, basically. And then from there, but this is our country. I love this country, but it doesn't mean I need to love it when a foreign country hijacks it. And this is what they do. I'm not going to play that game. And so I don't want our sons and daughters die for a foreign country. This war we had no business being in. Here's the thing. I guarantee you, I wish I was president, because I would go with Iran. I'm like, well, why don't we be friends? Why don't we trade? Here's the deal. And I would say this with Russia and China. Hey, if you attack us, we're going to fuck you up like you don't believe. But if you deal with us as friends, we're going to have a great time. Right? Now I go to Israel. Hey, I don't really care. You're a Jewish ethno state. Great. I'm going to promote that for Germany, that they could, Germany be for the Germans, Salve! And the French for the, France for the French, and England for the English. Not a bunch of, third worlders in there. So Israel, I support your model. But guess what? We're America. We can be friends with you. But what the fuck? You're not getting our foreign aid. We're not giving foreign aid to anyone. You guys got to stand on your own 2 feet. Doesn't mean we hate you. It's because we don't give money to you. It's like, oh, vicious Jew hatred. What the fuck is that? You don't hear that from Hungary. Oh, unless we give billions of dollars to Hungary. This Hungarian hatred is so irrational. What is this? And so that'd be my position. I tell you right now, if I was president, this would be a peaceful world. It'd be a peaceful world. We'd be prosperous, and then we wouldn't have all these wars. You really wouldn't. Simple as. Of course, it'd be hard, because if I was president, oh man, anti-Semite, Jew hater, because he won't give all these money to Israel. And he's delaying Jesus from coming back. But it'd be prosperous. And so that's what I am. I'm 100% for America. And these evil shits like Ben Shapiro, they try to hijack that unless you support their ethno state, fight wars for their country. By the way, they hate you. But unless you fight wars for them, you just hate America. I don't play the game. So, yeah, that is that. All right, let me just take a look here. Thank you all for being here. But yeah, Israel did bomb Lebanon. They're invading Lebanon. Hezbollah is fucking them up like they usually do. Wow, they're terrorists. And it's like, well, if you invade a country, I don't know if it's terrorists, if militias fight against you. All right, here's another thing. That I always found suspicious, because Iran's always quick to take credit for things they do that are great. But remember, we had, oh no, the Iranians, they shot this long-range ballistic missile to our base in the Mediterranean, which shows they have long-range ballistic missiles and they could bomb London, which necessarily, I don't know if it would be a bad thing at this point. But it was like, oh, well, why would Iran do that, right? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. And by the way, Iran said, we didn't shoot those missiles. And here we have the leader of NATO, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte says the alliance cannot confirm Israel's claim that the missiles targeting Diego Garcia, that's their military base, it's a small island in it's not the Mediterranean, I'm sorry. It's in the Indian Ocean, south of India. They're real obscure. Were Iranian intercontinental ballistic missiles. And that means they weren't. They were fucking Israeli missiles. It was a false flag, because Israel then immediately jumped on that to try to gain support for this war. Because again, this war has nothing to do with American interests. It's 100% Israeli interests. So this is where we are now. And meanwhile, Trump is talking about these great imaginary peace negotiations that the Iranians aren't aware of. We are sending 3,000 to 4,000 airborne division soldiers into Iran. to capture Karg Island. That's what's reported. I'm not sure. We're sending Marines and we're sending some airborne divisions. Karg Island, it would make no sense to take that from a strategic point of view. But Pete Hegseth may do it then because it makes no sense. Why I say it doesn't make sense. Karg Island, in case you guys don't know, is a small island just off the coast of Iran that they use to, it's an oil terminal. So they get their oil, they put on Karg Island, and they get their tankers and fill them up, send them on their way. And it's like 80% of their oil. So we could really stop their oil production if we took Karg Island. And that really hurt Iran. But it doesn't make sense for a couple of reasons. Number one, we released our undone sanctions against Iran with their oil because Trump's worried about the price of crude oil. So before the war, we had sanctions on Iranian oil. No one's allowed to buy Iranian oil. Now, the Chinese said, fuck you, we're buying it. And other countries did, but Europe and others, you can't buy Iranian oil. They're evil. So we had these sanctions on Iranian oil. And now we're like, okay, you can buy Iranian oil because we want to try to get the oil prices down. And also because, the Iranian barges, tankers, they go through the Strait of Hormuz and they go through the Indian Ocean. We could easily sink those oil tankers with submarines, but we're not. In fact, we said we're not going to attack them because, again, we don't want to hurt the price of oil, the price of oil to go up. We don't want that. So if that's our policy, why would we take Karg Island? Because if we took Karg Island, that would drastically increase the price of oil. Because if we had the island, you could say, now we have the oil. We could ship it to Europe. No, we don't, because we couldn't get through the Strait of Hormuz. They still control that. So it makes no fucking sense. And it would really piss off China because most of the oil that Iran does export, it goes to China. So it doesn't make any sense. So I don't think Karg Island's a goal. But I don't think the Strait of Hormuz is enough to take just 4,000 troops. Even if you go up to 10,000, they will get slaughtered. So who knows? But I don't think Trump doesn't know what to do. Or so we're seeing a lot of ground troops there. Some other rumors that we got about the negotiations. I may be one of the few people that support this, but I like J.D. Vance. I know most people don't. I get it, but confirmed. Turkish sources tell Al Monitor that the U.S. is asking for talks between Vice President Vance and whatever, how you pronounce his name, Ghalibaf. Turkey will be one intermediary, but Iran has yet to respond. So we're saying, hey, would you talk to J.D. Vance? He's a Christian. He won't screw you like Witkoff and Kushner does. That's probably the only way they would talk. So we'll see if J.D. Vance gets involved with the negotiations. Let's see. I got diplomat for Westerkind. Paul, white people need to be clear that we are one-issue voters. If a candidate wants our vote, their main concern needs to be fighting anti-whiteism and white erasure. Also promoting peoplehood among our race. Peoplehood is key. Well, I think we're more than one-issue voters, and the economy is important. And this getting involved, these wars are important. And I agree with you. To me, this is a red line. If someone's anti-white, I will not support him. That's why I won't support most people in the Democrat Party. But there are other issues than just that. And so I get what you're saying, but I think it's a little bit broader than that. All right. Let's see here. Oh, I accidentally closed my document that showed all my links. So let me bring that up. All right. We talked about how JD Vance may get in that. All right. Another thing we'll talk about Trump. I don't want to talk just about Iran. I thought this was pretty shitty of Trump. Take a look. He was talking about Joe Kent.
You know whether Joe Kent is leaking?
Look, I'm not a fan of the guy. If you look at, and you never cover this, if you look at his truths or whatever he went on, if it's X or truth, if you look at his truths or his statements, he was all for everything. All of a sudden, he wasn't. He was a man that I met at Dover. He came and his wife was killed. He remarried fairly quickly. His wife was killed, and I felt badly for him. He ran for Congress, he lost. He ran for Congress again, and he lost. I said, you know, he's a guy, nice guy, seemed like a very nice guy. I met him. He was pretty heartbroken, But I said, you know, it's a shame. He ran for Congress twice. Call him up, give him a job in the White House. Smart. They gave him a job in the White House, and this is what he does to me.
So Trump, first of all, Trump talking about him, Joe Kent married 4 years after his wife died in, I think it was Syria by ISIS. Trump can't. What's Trump talking about? He's had multiple affairs. What's he talking about here? And so, but Trump's all about loyalty. One way, he's not loyal to the other people. So he's trying to bash Joe Kent and Joe Kent has still been real nice to Trump, just saying he's been led down the wrong way. So, it's pretty cringe. I hate to see Trump do that, but that's what Trump's do that. All right, a couple other non-Iran news we'll go over quickly. Let's see here. It's been a hard week for the Jewish people. OnlyFans owner Leonard Radvinsky, who was Jewish, died at 43. He was also the biggest donor to AIPAC. So just so you guys understand, the biggest donor to AIPAC was the guy that pushed basically online prostitution onto our daughters. And this AIPAC money, the majority, the biggest donor was a pimp of white girls. And the people that took the money were good Christians like Ted Cruz, Tom Cotton, and Lindsey Graham. So, yeah, what a piece of shit. But he died of cancer. And it's interesting how that all ties together there. And I don't know if this is true. I find this a little amusing. Breaking! White smoke in Tel Aviv indicates that Israel has chosen a new OnlyFans CEO. It's like the Pope. So we'll have to see who Israel chooses as a new prostitution king to pimp out our girls. So the money that guy gets can go to AIPAC. Yeah, way to go, Christian evangelicals. I hope you're proud of yourselves being allied with people like that. Great way to do this. All right. All right, we'll do a couple of this. I want to do a couple other stories here. This is the true story. You don't know if it's AI or fake news, but I verified this is true. This is where we are right now. Just in, and this is Polymarket, they're reputable, It's been revealed that a top FEMA official claimed he was involuntarily teleported to a Waffle House. This is who's protecting you. A top official was teleported to a Waffle House. Yeah. All right. This is the nuts we have here. Okay. Then we had today, this was sad news. This is how things are breaking apart in America at New York Airport. Let me show you this. This was a airline. The plane landed. So here's the plane, and he ran right into a fire truck, and it killed a couple. It killed the pilot and the co-pilot. So the plane landed, and it was going down the runway. A fire truck got in the way, and there's a collision. So total horror. You know, our airports are a mess now with everything, with the TSA and the people calling in sick. It's just a disaster there. But that is where they are. All right. I think I would, this video kind of made me sad because I can remember the 80s. Maybe you'll see me in this video. This is how America looked in the 80s. When I remember I used to go to malls. I was a teenager in the 80s. Went to the malls and it looked like this. Look at a bunch of white people, no Somalis, just people chilling, having fun. Kind of a lost time. It's really sad what's happened to our country because of immigration and everything. And that's why we elected Trump, right? We elected Trump to try to get our country back, kick out the illegals, defend America, keep us out of foreign wars that don't interest America. But Trump betrayed us on that. It's really sad. But that's what happened. All right, guys. Let's see, it's been an hour and a half. It's been a fun show. Let me make sure I got all the super chat money and all the questions. I don't want to miss anything there. I think I got everything. Yeah, I think I do. Here, let me see here. Oh, here we go. The truck destroyed the plane, but a plane destroyed the Twin Towers. Yeah, well, I think it caused the fire, which burned it. But yeah, I heard people make that comparison. But yeah, that was sad what happened to at the airport. All right, guys, I should be back tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you guys later.